You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Alba Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Alba.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Alba, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer, on the board, 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on this Thursday, August 7th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along here at the world headquarters of Civic Media in downtown Madison. Some high, puffy clouds. Can actually see them a little bit today. Still smoke in the air, Zommers. And I've quit because I sound like a fool most of the time. I don't need any help in that department. But I keep saying, well, wait a couple. Looking at the forecast, it looks like it's going to move out. I'm not saying I'm because it's never right. Because
check your local listings.
It's not moving out. The smoke isn't moving out. It's still here.
Yeah, much like my roommates. No, I'm glad to live with them.
Wow. They may lock you out after that. It's going to be here probably a few more days. Just have to do the best we can. Looks like southwest Wisconsin today is going to be under the worst of it. Northeast Wisconsin is better due to smoke today. But those wildfires continued. And again, my apologies for the voice, but did our show up in La Crosse yesterday outside. And I didn't really feel it happening. But boy, I woke up this morning and I was got like the old frog in the throat there.
Yeah, I mean, you probably smoked the equivalent of at least half a pack.
You don't think that, do you?
Maybe.
I hope not.
I don't know how bad the air quality was there.
I don't think it was that bad. I think it's just kind
It's been pretty bad around the state, though.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a healthcare expert. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, and this time of this, I'll be accurate. I did myself in last hour because I didn't read the notes. And Casey Hicks is going to be here at 3:35, not 2:35. 3:35, Wisconsin Conservation Voters Organization. Going to be talking about the outdoors. Speaking of the outdoors, activities and legislation coming up. If the legislature ever comes back into session. No, they will. They'll come back after the summer. So Casey Hicks will be here talking conservation at the bottom of the hour. Boy, howdy. Was driving through Richland Center last night, coming back from La Crosse, and stopped at Mom's a minute to say hi to catch the last 2.5 innings of the Milwaukee Brewers game. It was on FS1 last night, of all things. And so got to watch the last 2.5 innings or so. Brewers are continue on the big win streak. 5-4 win last night. The Brew Crew over the Atlanta Braves. Swept them in Atlanta. Brewers off today, travel day. I heard Lane Grindle say he was going to grill some Usinger brats today in his backyard. Boy, I could use a Usinger brat right now. It's that time of year. I love brats.
It really is.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Brewers will be back in action at home in the friendly confines of AmFam Field against the floundering New York Mets. They've lost like 8 of 9 or something like that. They're on a big losing streak. Nearly got no-hitted by Cleveland in their game a couple of nights ago. Anyway, the Brewers against the Mets tomorrow night. You can hear it on many of these stations starting at 6:35 with the broadcast start, which means the first pitch will be on or about 7 p.m. tomorrow. The Brewers and the Mets. You can hear it in Richland Center on WRCE, in Oshkosh on WISS, on WRJN in Racine, Kenosha, WCQM, our great station in Park Falls, and our newest affiliate with the Brewers, WBZH, the Buzz of the North, up there in beautiful Hayward. The Brewers and the Mets tomorrow, starting at 6:35-ish on many of these stations on the Milwaukee Brewers Radio Network. Also, don't forget, tomorrow is Free Ticket Friday. Make sure you have the Civic Media app downloaded, ready to go. Starting with Pat Kreitlow at 6 o'clock in the morning, all the way through Maggie Dawn at 6 o'clock at night. All of our shows going to be giving you a word of the show You text that in on the Civic Media app, and the computer will randomly draw someone to win 4 club-level seats to a Brewers game to be named later. Now, it's a specific game. Well, each show will tell you which game it is for. It's a great way to expand. The tickets are hot right now. So make sure you listen to All Day Tomorrow for Free Ticket Friday on the Civic Media Radio Network. All right, Zombers, it's 11 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go. Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to give away, no prize money involved, but it is your chance to have your voice heard on all 10 news talk sports stations across the Civic Media Talk Network. So here's the deal. As I said, we were in La Crosse. I stopped at Richland Center, but before that, I was going to say hangry, but I wasn't angry. I was pretty chill. I just got hungry. And so I, driving through beautiful Viroqua in the southwest of the Driftless. And of course, I love my Culvers, and I see the Culver, I pull into Viroqua. And I ate, and because it was so nice out, I ate outside. Probably didn't help my voice. But anyway, I ate
Probably
outside,
not.
and I'm sitting there, and on Highway 14, going south to north, 2 big Chick-fil-A trucks with the red and white branding on the side. One would look like a straight truck, no windows or anything. And the second one would look like a bus converted into a mobile restaurant.
Like a Wienermobile type thing.
Bigger than that. And they had like the ventilation, they're cooking Chick-fil-A in this truck. And so these 2 Chick-fil-A vehicles slow down, and they put their blinds like, no way. And they turn into Culvers. And I'm like, are these people just being jerks or what's going on? No. They park in the back, and they're very polite about it. They parked in the back of the Culver's parking lot in Viroqua with their big Chick-fil-A trucks, and about 8 guys in their Chick-fil-A uniform get out, go in, order Culver's, and sit down and eat.
And yeah, if you want proof, this is on Twitter on @ToddAllball. He has a video of it, and you can see turns a little bit, and behind him, giant bright red Chick-fil-A truck. And it's something to behold.
I was just amused because, of course, Culver's just came out with their new chicken sandwiches, which are delicious, by the way. And I thought, these guys, these Chick-fil-A boys, they're like, well, if you want real chicken, stop at Culver's. Because, I think there's a Chick-fil-A right in Milwaukee area. There's one here in Madison. But, past Madison towards the west, you probably can't get a Chick-fil-A until you get to Eau Claire. So it's not a regular occurrence in southwest Wisconsin. So it got me thinking, what's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A?
We know where Chick-fil-A stands.
Culver's or Chick-fil-A, 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. What's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? You can also text us on the Civic Media app, and you can text in on the various streams. Jeff Perry, our friend and ongoing contributor, texting in Facebook says, my son works at Culver's, and he said they often get customers wearing their McDonald's uniforms. I think this is great. What's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or you could text us on the Civic Media app like Brian up in beautiful Marinette, Wisconsin, listening on WMDX. And this one is easy. I don't hate chicken.
Yeah.
Now, what Brian is alluding to here, and I get it. So Chick-fil-A's owners, founders, very religious people, apparently, which I got no problem with that. But in my opinion, they take it too far. They say they're not open on Sunday. So Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday. Hey,
sure, that's on you.
It's a private business, whatever you want to do. However, much like the Hobby Lobby people, they have given money towards anti-LGBTQ groups and have spoken out against folks like me who happen to be gay. And I'm not cool with that. So I'm not weird about it, where I think I've eaten Chick-fil-A 3 times in my life. So, like, if I'm with a group of people, like, really want Chick-fil-A, I'm not going to be like that guy, I don't eat that. But do I seek it out? No.
I've never had Chick-fil-A.
You never had Chick-fil-A.
There wasn't one near me for the longest time living in Manitowoc. And then by the time I knew where they were, I knew that they hated gay people. And so I hate them and never wanted to eat it.
I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I wouldn't go as far to maybe just say hate, but certainly it's been known that they don't like people like me, which I always find interesting because on the rare occasion I've been around a Chick-fil-A, whatever, it seems like there are people from my group working there, which I find odd. Tony watching on YouTube says, I hate the long lines of Chick-fil-A. Also, the chicken is overrated. Culver's is the best fast food burger in the country. There you go. Nailed it.
All right, so that's it for today's edition of... No, I'm kidding.
I was just going to say, the 3 or 4 or the 2 or 3 times I've had a Chick-fil-A, I'll say this, highly overrated, in my opinion.
People treat it like it's the second coming.
The you know what's better is the one on State Street down there at the end that all the college kids go to.
Raising Cane's?
Yeah, that's it.
Raising Cane's is delicious.
Yeah. Now there, the Raising Cane's, I got no problem. I mean, their chicken is legit good in my opinion. But if it's between Culver's and Chick-fil-A, come on. The Chick-fil-A is overrated. It's all about marketing.
Even the Chick-fil-A workers know it.
Right, that's the point. That's the point. Is that I saw it. You don't have to read it in the paper. You don't have to go online. You don't have to look at fake news. I saw it with my own eyes. I videotaped it. I put it on my socials, and you can watch it for yourself. The Chick-fil-A people vote with their pocketbooks and their feet, and the Chick-fil-A employees, 8 of them, pulled in last night into Culver's in Viroqua, and they ate their meal, not anywhere else, but at Culver's. Good old Culver's, founded by Craig and Lee Culver in southwest Wisconsin, in Sauk City. You can still go there and eat at the original one. What's worse? It's a silly question, I know. What's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Jim in Brookfield. Culver's is far better, says Jim, than Chick-fil-A. Not even close. Culver's really is a higher quality, made fresh, fast food, while Chick-fil-A is a mass-produced, wilted salads and sandwiches that fall apart. Besides, Chick-fil-A has right-wing ownership. Brooke in Jimfield. Brooke, why do I keep saying that? Jim in Brookfield. I was so smitten by the message, Jim. I'm sorry. I agree with you. I agree. Dana in La Crosse. Wow. Dana in La Crosse referring to Chick-fil-A as quote unquote bigot burgers. Unquote. Mark, I'm very amused by this. Mark in Prairie du Sac, Chick-fil-A sucks compared to Culver's. Brett in Brown Deer, WAUK. When I used to go when I did DoorDash, I got an order to deliver McDonald's food through the driver's side, through to the driver's side drive-through at the Taco Bell.
So yeah, go pick this up from McDonald's drive-through and then bring it into ours.
That's really funny. Now, see, I managed restaurants. I managed the Tilted Kilt. I wasn't going eating other food when I was working at the Kilt. I mean, I wouldn't go into another restaurant with my Kilt shirt on. I try to be loyal to my employer. What's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? Come on back after this on the Civic Media Ready Now.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Welcome back to the Civic Media Ready Network. My voice is a little raspy because I was out in the smoke yesterday in La Crosse. 22 past the hour of 3 o'clock. I was driving back from La Crosse after being in the smoke all day yesterday, apparently. And I stopped at Viroqua last night. This was a beautiful night. A picture-perfect summer evening in southwest Wisconsin. And I was hungry, and I pulled into the Culver's in Viroqua, right across from the fairgrounds, where they're going to have Larry Fest. Ever been to Larry Fest up there?
Larry Fest? No.
Larry, I would say that's another bottle of wine or chicken sandwich. But anyway, was in Viroqua, so I pulled into the Culvers, and I'm eating there out on the picnic table at Culver's, and two big Chick-fil-A trucks pull in, like a mobile restaurant type of deal, and they parked in the Culver's parking lot, said Chick-fil-A across it, and then 8 guys come on in, and they order with their uniforms on from Chick-fil-A and sit down at Culver's. Apparently, they like the chicken sandwiches better at Culver's. And who could blame them? And so my question today, what's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Gordy, our old friend Gordy Kopke. I'm sure they're getting ready. The greenhouse will be open for mums soon down there in the town of Dunn, outside of Oregon. One of our great sponsors here at Civic Media, Gordy Kopke. Kopke's greenhouse. Gordy says the last time at Chick-fil-A for me was 23 years ago in Florida. And I was not impressed after I learned of their attitude toward my gay friends and relatives. My shadow has not graced their door. Took my grandkids to Culver's last night. Their roast beef sandwich is incredible, and the custard is, as well, a fave of the family. I couldn't agree more, Gordy. I recently had the roast beef sandwich at Culver's. It was fantastic. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Karen, listening in the beautiful town of Wanakee, the only Wanakee in the world. Karen, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? What's worse?
Well, Culver's, because if you go online and check the chemicals in the Chick-fil-A, for sure, those little bites that they sell in a cup, you'll never eat them.
So you're saying that Chick-fil-A is worse?
Yes, because if go look it up and see the chemicals they put in there that they make it taste. It's very unhealthy.
So you're saying that the taste of a Chick-fil-A is based on chemicals?
Well, go look it up and you'll see.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The couple of times I had Chick-fil-A in my life, I thought it was overrated. I think the Culver's chicken sandwiches are much better. They're juicier. They're more tender. They taste fresher, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's because you're saying the Chick-fil-A is tender?
No, I'm saying that Culver's is more tender, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Culver's is better, and I don't go to Chick-fil-A. I had that once. I looked it up, and it's full of
and you have a great Culver's out there, kind of towards the edge of town in Wanakee. I've eaten there many a time.
Yeah.
It's a great place. All right, Karen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great day in beautiful Wanakee. What's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Cam in Appleton says, had Culver's for an easy anniversary dinner last night. Year 8, here we come. Chick-fil-A,
Congrats.
yes, congratulations, Cam. Chick-fil-A is the worst. Last time we went, they told us they could not make a salad because no one on the shift knew how. Well, first, as Albert says, congratulations on 8 years. And what better place to take your significant other than Culver's for a great anniversary dinner? Diane, listening in Madison on MDX, says, I was once stuck for hours in the airport in Dallas with friends. The only restaurant open in the area was Chick-fil-A. We refused to eat there, even though we were ready to murder each other because we were so hangry. That's great, Diane. God love you. That's fantastic. Allie, listening in Madison, says, does Chick-fil-A sell left wings or only right wings?
Inquiring minds want to know.
That's fantastic. 855-752-4842. TJ in Oshkosh, listening to WISS, says it'd be funny to see Culver's use that video of the Chick-fil-A people eating at Culver's in their advertisements. A couple of people asked me about this. I did not take video or a picture of the Chick-fil-A employees eating because I thought it could get them fired.
Right, exactly.
And so I thought,
so you just took the truck.
I took the truck outside. I thought that was fair game, but I wasn't going to invade somebody's personal privacy.
I think that was the way to do it.
All right, Zommers, what's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A?
I don't know. It's Chick-fil-A.
Yes, it's not even close. It's a ridiculous question, but I thought we'd have fun with it.
It's an excuse to tell a fun story.
Heather on Facebook says, no contest, Chick-fil-A is worse, but I'll say every Chick-fil-A I have been at had a very diverse and friendly staff. Well, that's what's confusing to me because their politics, their money is very hateful towards people who are not straight, but yet they seem to employ a lot of different people. But no contest, Culver's is better. All right. All right, we got time. So I got a beef real quick. Zombers, we got a Peacock update. Here we go. Little Katy Perry, if you will. All right. Yes. Those of you know, I do not like Peacock, but because now so many University of Wisconsin sports are broadcast only on Peacock, I was just checking my email over the break. My Peacock's going up from $7.99 to $10.99.
Oh,
so
the
now
audacity.
I got and the broadcast quality. There are better broadcasts being done at the University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh, and Platteville than there are on Peacock. But will I pay the additional $3 a month to watch Badger sports? Sadly, yes. All right, that's a Peacock update. That's what's worse. Come on back. We'll talk conservation. Right now, a farm update for our great friends at Midwest Farm Report. It's the All Ball Show across Wisconsin for a Thursday on the Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome back to the Todd All Ball Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Glad to have you along on a Thursday, August 7th. Zommers spinning the tune on the board. By the way, one late entry, Zommers, on that What's Worse today, Culver's or Chick-fil-A. Our friend Rob Wheat down in Monroe, Wisconsin, beautiful Greene County. Because we were talking about, that I had seen the Chick-fil-A guys pull into Culver's last night and eat with their big equipment. And somebody earlier suggested, well, you should give that to Culver's for a promotional piece. And I said, well, that's fine. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Rob says, too late. I've already shared it with the Culver's folks so they can take advantage. Now, see, I don't want anything for it except, I'll take a pint of ice cream or call it custard. Yeah, I go along with that. So thanks, Rob. We appreciate that. We'll see what Mojo has to say. All right, 36 now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Conservation, always a great topic of this show as an outdoors person, although it's now affecting my voice because of the smoke. Always happy to have people on the show talking about conservation from Wisconsin conservation voters. Casey Hicks joins us now via StreamYard. Casey, thanks for coming in. Where are you joining us from today?
Todd, thank you for having me. Excited to be here. I'm calling in from Green Bay. I'm going to Shawano later on tonight. It's a beautiful part of the state as well. And if you don't want to, that's fine to weigh in on our foolishness. But do you have a pick? What's worse, Culver's or Chick-fil-A? Oh, Chick-fil-A is worse by far. I'm a Culver's guy through and through.
God love you. See, that's exactly. I think most good Wisconsinites are. But we had to because I thought it was weird that the Chick-fil-A people would stop with their truck and eat Culver's, but it was also charming and endearing all at the same time because apparently even the competition thinks the Culver's things are better.
Yeah, I guess so. My go-to at Culver's is always getting the chicken strips, and I've been doing that way before Chick-fil-A ever stepped foot in Wisconsin.
They're tender, they're juicy, they're fantastic. All right, enough of my foolishness. Let's get to Wisconsin conservation voters as we do, and thank you for playing along, by the way. Casey, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up, and how did you get involved with Wisconsin conservation voters?
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town in southeast Wisconsin, Random Lake. Feel free to make jokes about the name if you want.
No, I've been to Random Lake.
Oh, you have?
Not
okay.
randomly.
What can I ask? What brought you there?
I used to travel a lot for sports broadcasting and stuff like that, and didn't spend a lot of time. But it was through there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we our high school had a very good wrestling team that I was not a part of. But
that was why I used to cover high school wrestling
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So I grew up in Random Lake, Wisconsin. I went to University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, majored in political science and minored in democracy and justice studies. Finished up school in 2017 and have been here about a little over 10 years at this point. I live here with my wife and my son and our dog. Our son is 9 months old at this point.
Oh, congrats.
And thank you. Yeah, we've been loving every minute of it, and he's just growing up way too fast. But I came to Wisconsin Conservation Voters first as a volunteer all the way back in 2014, I believe. Our now deputy director, but he was at that time our Northeast organizer, Seth Hoffmeister, was standing on the corner of the Broadway Farmers Market in Green Bay collecting signatures for a petition, and I signed one. And then he said, "Thanks for signing. How about you come to our office opening next week?" And so I said yes. And I got immediately put to work because he asked if I could volunteer at the sign-in table for people as they were coming in. So that was it. My first experience. After that, I would come in and help to make phone calls and do phone banking on different policies that WCV was trying to pass at the time, like the Leading on Lead bill. Ultimately, after I graduated college, I served a little bit in the AmeriCorps as an AmeriCorps Vista in Brown County for a local nonprofit called Achieve Brown County. And then a position opened up at Wisconsin Conservation Voters to be Northeast organizer in Green Bay. And I immediately jumped on the opportunity and was lucky enough to be offered the position. And then the very first thing that I did was immediately go to work to work on the special election in Senate District 1 in Door County and Kewaunee County back in 2018. So that was basically my very first thing that I did with WCV. And I've loved it ever since. I've been with the organization for 7 years at this point. And prior to my current position being federal government affairs manager, I was organizing director, managing our team of field organizers across the states for a few years. And like I said, previous to that was Northeast organizer here in Green Bay.
Well, that's great. Congrats. And growing up in Random Lake, were you an outdoors person? Did you do an hiker or kayaker, fisher, whatever?
Yeah, I always grew up going out camping with my family in the summers. I'm an only child, so it was just my parents and I going to different campgrounds. My dad grew up the same way and kind of passed that down to me. Was lucky enough to, being in Random Lake, you know how close it is, or having been to Random Lake, you know how close it is to Lake Michigan. So that was a great inspiration as well. I also did cross country in high school.
Oh, nice.
So just tons of outdoor opportunities in that area and just all across Wisconsin, of course.
I think it's great when you can meld your passion with what you do for work because, in my opinion, it's like doing radio. I mean, oftentimes it's like, really, they're paying me for this? Don't tell the people to pay me, but I mean, that's kind of what it is. And I think it's great that you took your passion and are doing something with it. So tell us a little bit, by the way, we're talking to Casey Hicks. He is the Federal Government Affairs Manager for Wisconsin Conservation Voters, joining us from beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin. Casey, tell us a little bit about, for people across the state that might not have heard of it, what are Wisconsin Conservation Voters as an organization, and what are the kind of the top two maybe things that you folks will work on?
So our mission is to engage voters to protect Wisconsin's environments. Do that in several different ways. Very first, on its head, when I say we engage voters to protect Wisconsin's environment, we do exactly that. We work on elections to elect people into office who care about conservation, care about tackling climate change, investing in clean energy, protecting drinking water, and protecting our right to vote and upholding our democracy. Because without the right to vote, without the ability to share our voice in government, we can't protect those other things that I mentioned. So we'll work to get people elected into office, and then we work to hold them accountable and help them to pass good, sound environmental policy, and as well try to stop bad environmental policy from happening, which in Wisconsin, with our current state legislature, has been the case more often than not, trying to stop bad things. But we're also very lucky in having Governor Tony Evers doing good work in the office that he's holding, and trying to support him as well. We also work at the local, state, and federal levels, working to pass good policy in all those different areas of government. Done a lot of work with cities, counties, school boards, local municipalities to set up clean energy commitments for them to reach 100% clean energy by 2050, or in some cases sooner than 2050, because it's really important that at every level of government we're working to protect the environment and work to tackle climate change.
So I love the passion, and I've done this for a long time as someone who grew up in Southwest Wisconsin. I really think that these issues that you folks are working on at Wisconsin Conservation Voters, they really shouldn't be hyper political in terms of partisan politics, because when you go camping, people aren't wearing red or blue hats. I mean, they're just enjoying going camping and tenting and playing jarts or whatever. At least they played jarts when I was growing up. They probably can't play that anymore. But anyway.
It is banned, I'm pretty sure.
Is it really banned?
Or at least you can't sell them. They're not metal.
Well, Mom still has some in the garage. But anyway, people are just out there having fun. When you go fishing, nobody's or very few people are saying, hey, well, look at that great crappie. By the way, who'd you vote for? My point is, everybody is using the outdoors, and therefore protecting that for everyone really shouldn't be a hyper partisan event. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're exactly right about that. We all benefit from the outdoors. We all enjoy the outdoors. We're all impacted by what may or may not be happening to the environment and what we're doing to protect it. Especially when it comes to climate change, it knows no boundaries. Everyone is affected in varying ways. Of course, we have folks who are more vulnerable to the effects of climate change, who feel it much more. And I think it's our duty and obligation to make sure that we're working to protect those folks, along with everyone else who I think is inextricably connected to the environment.
We're talking with Casey Hicks, Federal Government Affairs Manager for Wisconsin Conservation Voters. So, Casey, this big bill that went through Congress and President Trump signed into law, very confusing for a lot of us here, I think, on Wisconsin. And what we like to do on this show is try to look at those bigger things and say, hey, how does this actually affect us back in Wisconsin? And I know one of the things that you all have been very passionate about in the EPA is the endangerment funding. Talk to us a little bit about that. A couple of minutes here. I'll take a break and we'll finish it up on the other side.
Yeah. So to keep it real simple, the endangerment finding is the most important tool that the Environmental Protection Agency and the U.S. government has to protect us from climate change. It comes from a 2007 Supreme Court ruling from Massachusetts v. EPA that said that EPA has the requirement, the obligation to protect people in the environment from a mix of greenhouse gas emissions. They listed 6: carbon dioxide, methane, perfluorocarbons being just some of them. But essentially saying that those are all pollutants that EPA is required to protect us from underneath the Clean Air Act.
So, but again, I guess we got a couple minutes left here. By the changes of the EPA, what this really means, and I know that the current conditions are from wildfires in both the United States and Canada, by the way, folks. But some of these, what can you give us an example of one of the changes that's going to have a direct impact on Wisconsinized day-to-day life?
Yeah. I mean, I think first and foremost is people are going to be feeling it in their pocketbooks in so many different ways that we're already as a result of the budget that you mentioned. It's going to be compounded endangerment finding possibly taken away. And I should mention as well, vehicle emission standards are also being proposed to be taken away. And so what that means for the average Wisconsinite is the car that you have now is much more efficient, gets many more miles per gallon than the car that you probably had 10 years ago, unless you have the same car that you had from 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the first examples of how it saves you money, along with protecting the environment, making sure that our cars, our trucks aren't spitting out harmful pollution.
So literally, it could mean dollars and cents of that Wisconsinites are going to have to pay out more in fuel oil or in gas and fuel for our different vehicles, whether it's gasoline or diesel, because you take away these emission standards. Well, then it's just Katie bar the door, because the manufacturers are going to make it less efficient because that costs them less to produce.
Yeah.
So, all right, come on back. We're going to talk a little bit more with Casey Hicks, Federal Government Affairs Manager for Wisconsin Conservation Voters. Find out what else is on the docket and how it will affect us here in this Badger State. Don't go anywhere. It's the All Ball Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Welcome back to the Todd All Ball Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is now 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to across Wisconsin. Then coming up after that, a quick check of weather. Brittany Merlot and her weather team, followed by our great sports reporter, Mike Clemens, on the ground at Lambeau Field. I got my Packer polo shirt on today. This weekend, first preseason game against the JETS Jets, New York Jets in town. Clemens is going to keep us up to date on all of that. We'll talk more about that game if you're going, if you want to go yet. Give you more details on that. We'll be live from Shawano tomorrow. On the also Peter Rapon from EPOM's World will be here tomorrow as well. So then after the sports update with Clemens, it will be another edition of the Maggie Dawn Show. And Maggie Dawn is out today. She is gone. Maggie Dawn is gone. And so, but have no fear, stick around because our great morning team in WMDX is waiting right outside the window. I can see them. And I'm not making Gordy has a brand new haircut. His hair is all very nice and he's ready to go. So John and Gordy are hopping in here and they're going to guest host the Maggie Dawn Show tonight or this afternoon from 4 until 8. Would that be something? 4 until 6. 4 until 6. And then Pete Schwaba and Nightlight from 6 until 8. Great lineup coming up here on Civic Media. Right now, speaking of Shawano, just about 30 miles to the east is beautiful Green Bay, where we find Casey Hicks, who is joining us from via StreamYard from Green Bay. He is the Federal Government Affairs Manager with Wisconsin Conservation Voters. Again, Casey, thanks for joining us. So we talked a little bit about the EPA endangerment funding. Did you want to add anything else onto that, or do you want to give us another major issue that folks at Wisconsin Conservation Voters are working on?
Yeah, I'll touch a little bit more on the endangerment finding because there's an opportunity to try to protect it and make sure that it doesn't get taken away. A part of the process that EPA goes through with these rules is collecting public comments and testimony from people. Anyone is allowed to submit it. Folks who are feeling the impacts of climate change, which is all of us, especially right now, given all the wildfire smoke that we've felt over the last week, I think is a very good example. I really encourage people to share how they're being impacted through public comment and what this would mean for them to have this really important tool that protects us from greenhouse gas emissions and pollution to possibly be taken away. So there are 2 hearings that are happening on August 19th and August 20th that people can sign up for to give oral testimony virtually over their computer. People need to just navigate over to EPA's website to sign up for that. They can also go to our website, conservationvoters.org, and sign up for our email alerts because we'll be sending out updates on how to sign up for that. We encourage people to sign up by August 12th. I know that's kind of coming up soon, but it's good to pre-register just so people can make sure that they have their place in line to share their thoughts. Since I said that is short notice, we understand people probably might not always be able to make that, especially in the summer in Wisconsin when we're trying to get outdoors and enjoy it. So there's also a written public comment period until September 15th for people to submit written comments instead if it's not doable for them to be on a virtual hearing.
I think it's important because at the end of the day, I think all of us just want to be heard. And so, including myself coming on this program and grousing about things, do something. I think people feel better if you do something, but B, these comments are important, at least to some folks that are the decision makers. So I would just add to that people should participate either virtually, go to a meeting, or at least write in, because at the end of the day, if we stay silent about these things that are important to us as Wisconsinites, like the outdoors, like clean water, like having a great environment, for hunters or what have you, because if the environment sucks, there's not going to be a lot of game to hunt. So I think that's really important, and that puts it down there where the chickens could get at it, as they say, Casey.
Yeah, exactly. And I think being silent is giving our permission for these really important things to be taken away. So it is important to share our voice. And yeah, if people want to receive more information, more resources to help them actually draft public comments, we're here to help with that. I love reading through things and helping people out with putting together their thoughts on these really important issues. So like I said, people can go to conservationvoters.org and sign up for our email alerts, and we'll be sending out more information on how to make your voice heard on protecting the endangerment finding.
Conservationvoters.org, correct? Conservationvoters.org. Let's go quickly and see if we can get this in. Tom calling in on the phone lines from Jackson. Tom, thanks for calling. Quickly, what say you?
Well, I'd like to argue with the fuel economy and emission standards. At the end of Biden's term, he left us with a boondoggle in that he's going to raise the fuel economy standards from like 25 to 50 miles per gallon, which no American car can make, and to decrease emissions like to 10% of what they are now, which are, again, none of these cars can make, which is forcing us to go to electric vehicles, which is the goal all along in Biden's administration. And I'm not for what most of what Trump is doing, but in this case, it's a good idea to dump this terrible standards that are left for us right now.
Casey, response? You got about a minute.
Yeah, thanks to the caller for asking that question. I appreciate it. I think ultimately we need to make sure that we have these emission standards in place to protect public health. I mentioned earlier protecting our wallets, but making sure that we're not putting more greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere is ultimately what we really need to do to address the problem that's at hand with climate change. And at this point, we're getting very close to the tipping point of climate change and coming close to that 1.5 degrees Celsius change in global temperatures that scientists have said are going to be drastic for our livelihoods, really, to put it simply. So it's all about protecting people's health and making sure that we have a healthy environment and healthy kids in the future, which I'm thinking about very much with my son here at home.
Exactly. Casey Hicks, thanks so much for taking the call. Thanks for the great response. I've had the great conversation today. Have a wonderful day up there in Green Bay. You can, again, conservationvoters.org to learn more. Casey Hicks, thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay tuned. John and Gordy are next. Keep fighting for whatever you believe in. We'll see you tomorrow from Shawano. Bye-bye.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.